Hi everyone, welcome back to another scrapbook layout video and thank you for joining me again today. Today I am using this collection by Doodlebug, and now this is a older collection by a lot, and I picked this up. It's called Boys Only, I believe is what the name of it was, and that sketch there is for My Little Scrapbook Store. So each month the designers are picking out a challenge, and this month was Tisa's challenge, so she chose this sketch to choose for everybody to do. Now, if you want to go over to the Facebook page, which I will leave a link below, you can do a layout using this sketch. It must be a new layout, but you can put it, share it in the post about this sketch. And then you can be entered to win a $10 gift certificate. I believe it's $10 at the end of the month. So yeah, it's worth, playing around. I picked this collection up when I was at the Doodlebug event. This was one of the things they had on sale. If I can find it somewhere for sale, I will link it. I didn't even think about it, but being as I did this for My Little Scrapbook Store, I probably should have picked something that I purchased from her. But I saw these pictures of my boys, and I've had these for a long time. I want to say this is 2013. That's kind of guessing. But if you look at the greens on the pattern paper and then the green in one of my son's shirts, the photos just turn out a lot of fun. And these are just silly photos. There's no anything special to them other than they're just both being silly boys, and I liked the photos, so I decided to scrap them. And this was a good collection, good way to get them scrapped. So here's the photos. You can see the green on the shirt. And actually, I believe we were shopping in Kohl's when this picture was taken, when they took these pictures, and they were waiting for their sister to try on clothes. So they were just being silly, good boys. Yeah, you can see how young my youngest one, look in those photos. Both of them, actually. It's kind of crazy how just a few years makes that big of a difference. But I'm going to go, the one thing I'm going to have a little bit of trouble with here, you can see, is my photo mat. Now the sketch calls for a photo mat. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to give it a photo mat, but I knew I needed these photos to pop off the background colors a little bit, and I wish I would have put it down, given them a white border before giving them the green border, but I didn't think about it until afterwards. And so I'm kind of jimmy rigging my own full piece here, because this is like one of those mini kits that you can buy, some companies come out with nowadays. There's a few things in there that I probably won't use, like the ribbons. The buttons I probably won't use with this collection, just because I don't feel like the colors really. Doodlebug does this sometimes with some collections. They kind of put some things together and just a few papers. And I was so excited when I saw this because these are great colors for boys. But they will add in a few extra things that I don't necessarily care about. Doesn't mean somebody else won't love them. Obviously they do, or they wouldn't make them. But I had to snatch up this kit when I was there. So like I said, if I can find it, I will link it. If not, I do apologize. You can probably reach out to Doodlebug and let them know that I sent you and said, hey, she has this kit. She wants to know if you can sell me one. But anyways, I added the papers. I think I wish I would have done a little bit differently too. This layout's going to be a lot of starts and stops, partly because, of life and having to go do other things, but also partly because playing around. This point, this layout's going great. I love it, even though I didn't have the full mat behind the photos. I jimmy rigged it, and I mean, if you look up close, you might be able to see it, but really it's not very noticeable at all. And I think part of it might even be covered up with clusters in the end. So the sketch also has like this faux stitching, or you could do real stitching if you like to do real stitching. I have yet to get a sewing machine, so mine, and I don't mind hand stitching, but I wanted to do this really quick. And I'm using a gray pen because there's grays in the papers and there's grays in the shirts. One of my boys is wearing a shirt with some gray on it too, which is another reason I thought this collection went really well. But I did ink all my edges with my Black Close to My Heart ink. I don't think that gray versus black would have made a big difference because I didn't really do like a real bright background. or I mean inking of the edges, if that makes any sense. So now I'm playing around a little bit, and on the sketch, there's kind of a few different kind of things coming out from behind the main photo cluster. At first, I thought maybe I would try this piece because this is something I would normally struggle to use big time. And I'm even gonna, I put glue on the photos and I figured I'm just gonna set it down at this point. This is where I kind of wish that I would have flip-flopped the kind of more tone on tones with the busier pattern papers, because I want to make a cluster down here on the right hand side because there kind of is a tag there on the sketch, and then I want to do one in the top left, but everything that I try gets lost on that background paper. I really liked that Pals for Life, and I'm going to try it quite a few times, but it's just I even thought about cutting it down. You guys know me, I'm not afraid to cut down my ephemera. You're going to see me play around a lot. Now, at first I thought I really liked this circle, and I wanted this to be my title, is The Boys Will Be Boys. Now, this is something normally I would struggle to use as well, but because of the shape of it, but because this is kind of like a fun, silly, the boys are just being, kids and fun, I didn't mind the shape of it as much. And it made for a good title, made getting the title figured out a lot easier. So I did that. I decided to pop it up on foam tape. I was thinking at this point that I would end up popping a bunch of other things on foam tape, and I even go so far as to glue down this orange piece. I'm really glad I didn't use wet glue. And I really like the way this looked, but I couldn't get anything else to really look very good with this. And I don't know. Like I said, I think it's because the busier pattern papers I should have flipped. I should have put the blue on the left-hand side and the orange on the right-hand side where these clusters go. And I really wanted to use that arrow, and I liked that arrow down there, but I kind of thought, well, I don't want to cover up that other arrow that's already on there, which is kind of dumb, and I wish that I should have just done it now. But I didn't, it's one of those things. So the arrows were great colors, but I just couldn't figure out where to put them. And you're going to see those arrows move around this page a lot. So here's where I'm struggling, because I wanted to add another cluster up in the top left and kind of make it more of like a diagonal type layout with the clusters. I didn't really know where I would put 3. Because they would be too close to each other in my opinion. But I'm going to play, and I think I turn off the camera at some point and play around quite a bit, and I'm struggling at this point. And then I kind of wondered about this piece here and how it would look, maybe if I stuck it at the top, but I didn't know how to get it. I think it looked good there, but I didn't know how to make it fit on the very left-hand side and make it look normal. Then I tried this notepad piece up there, and it wasn't too bad. And I really like, again, trying to use that Pals for Life. You're going to see me try it a few times. Because even today, I mean, these are like pictures from 2013, and they are pretty good buddies. So tried this first piece again. This was just one of those layouts. I have to say, I started out really in a good mood with this layout. It was going really good. And then I started to get frustrated. But I had to stop and go do some family stuff, and I turned it off, and I kind of played around, and I sat back in my chair, and I thought for a few minutes, what can I do? What can I change? Then I saw this border sticker. I knew I wanted the border sticker. I didn't know necessarily that I wanted it. I just really wanted to try. I thought maybe it would help, even though in the end, you're not going to see much. And I know I haven't pulled the border sticker out yet, but I'm pretty sure it's coming up. Again, there's those arrows. This is where I pull out the border stickers. And I try a couple different ones, but again, they get lost on that pattern paper. Now, the star would have been okay, but I finally end up deciding on that one with the white outline because I knew that would stand out a little bit. And it's got those little gear pieces on it, which is in the pattern paper up on the top left, and that'll bring that around. So again, I turned off my camera, thought about it, and I thought, hey, let's see if I have any dies that would work. Now, I'll try to link this die below. I want to say it's by Tim Holtz. It's just kind of a grungy die, like, I don't know, barbed wire fence, something, but I cut 3 pieces of it, and I just kind of stuck them behind the clusters, and that really helped to ground the clusters. From here on, it was a little bit easier, and I did finally decide to go ahead and do 3 clusters and make them, you know, on the papers that are more the tone-on-tone patterns, so they're a little easier to see. So you can kind of see, I'm going to kind of tuck this other little piece, and I cut those pieces down because they're grungy. It doesn't really matter how you cut them down. And I tucked those in, and I just picked a piece of gray cardstock out of my, you know, the little area that I have a few pieces of, you know, scraps. So I used a scrap. It didn't come from Doodlebug or anything like that. I did kind of look at my Doodlebug petite prints, but I just wanted something solid and gray. And this really is kind of, it's very close to the gray that's in those arrows and on that pattern paper and anything else that goes with this collection. And to glue it down, I'm just kind of dotting my glue a little bit here and there on it, mostly on the outsides of it, because I know underneath it won't, it has less of a chance of falling apart. So I'm not too worried about that. And you can see that I also at this point have added that little gear border. And like I said, most of it does get covered up, but I'm okay with that. I just kind of tucked it behind. And at this point I was just, again, with the arrows. I really wanted the arrows to work. I really liked them. I thought they were fun, but I think you could do a fun layout. Sorry if I'm being noisy moving around. It'd be fun to do a layout with like all of the arrows pointing at something, so I might have to play around with that. But the other things, I didn't really know if I wanted to add a soda pop, you know, those are all boy things and it doesn't really bother me. It just didn't feel like it fit with this layout so much. And this is all there is to choose from, by the way, other than the border stickers. There was some stickers that I must have purchased at the Doodlebug event as well that were kind of the electronic high-tech stuff. If you saw them kind of in the beginning, you might see them again. But the colors didn't really go, and it was not what I was looking for. So I just decided just to go for it, and I started tucking things down and putting things down. The one thing I'm going to struggle with is that one gear on the very left hand side has a big circle, and you can see like the border sticker and that die cut piece from behind. So I do cover that up a little bit, which again covers up more of the gear border strip, but it's fine. Because I just didn't like the way that hole was. And again, with the arrows. I just really couldn't get those arrows to work. And not only that, but wherever I wanted them, I was thinking maybe I'd pop them up with foam tape, and I knew that that would take too much attention away from the photos if I did that. So I wish I would have left that little guy there, though, next to that little lock. I think that actually looked good looking at it from the screen. But here's a couple of the things. Like I mentioned, these buttons came with this, but the blue is just kind of I didn't like the feel of the blue button or any of the buttons. They just felt younger to me than this layout kind of represented, so I just didn't go for it. Those stars came in this though, and I love those stars, so those are star brads. I'm going to add a dark blue. There's a dark blue that's kind of in the, they don't do a whole lot of dark blues anymore, do they? Maybe they do, and I don't know. But there's that high-tech one I was talking about, but it was just not what I was looking for. So I add this star, and again, I was saying about the brads, I'm going to add a dark blue into each cluster and I want to say I think it's a green. And I just I don't really even think about where they're going to go too much. Oh, and here's a little picture. I thought I'd show you my new little friend who likes to join me, who wants nothing to do with me anywhere else in the house, except when I'm scrapbooking. So I just put this back in there for you guys that have wanted to see my kitty before. That is Orangey. In the end, I did add the date you can see there, just with some letter stickers that are older, and I took my Doodlebug sprinkles and I added a green square, orange triangle, and a blue circle in each cluster. So go check out the website or the Facebook page and join in on the challenge. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time. Bye.